Hi, Rob Furman here, Senior Analyst at Catoosa Research. I'm here at the VRIC 2017 with Plateau Uranium's Chairman, Ian Stalker. Ian, welcome.
Thanks, Stu.
So it's been an exciting show, and it's been an exciting time in the uranium markets the last little while. Let's talk about that a little bit, and there's some big changes that's happened.
Yeah, indeed. It's caught the headlights again. And some of the headlines are beginning to suggest that there's enough uranium has been taken off the supply side that we're going to see that crunch that we've all been waiting for a long while.
About 10 years.
Closer. Yeah, exactly. It seems like 10 years anyway.
Yeah.
So look, if that's right, then I think companies like Plateau Uranium are well placed to take advantage of that. So I think the uranium space is becoming more interesting for sure.
Absolutely. Well, you saw Kazatomprom cut 10%. You know, when the world's largest producer is starting to cut costs, I mean, they're basically the OPEC of the uranium market. So I think you probably are starting to see a floor, hopefully.
Look, I think so, and you can see in one or two projects, our own included, where some off-takers are now beginning to talk to us about supplying uranium in the marketplace.
Right.
And the prices they're talking about in 2020, which is our targeted production time,
right,
is circa $45, $48 a pound.
Right.
So it is getting much more interesting. And for Kazatomprom, look, I look at it from my perspective. I've known them for many years, having been in uranium for a long while. I think to some extent, some of their low-hanging fruit has disappeared, and this 10% cut is convenient as well as opportunistic for them, and good for us.
Yeah, it is good for you guys, definitely. So let's talk about Plato's assets, Peruvian uranium. Let's talk about that. So where is it located in Peru, and what stage are you at?
Well, you're right. It's in Peru for a kickoff, in a good mining jurisdiction, good place to be, excellent area to work in, and it's up in the Macasani Plateau, which is about 5-6 hours drive by paved highway from the capital city of Lima. Interestingly enough, the camp is 3 kilometers off that main road. Power, hydropower, it's not short of hydropower in the country. We've got that, we've got water, and we're in an area where, from a uranium mining perspective, there is no large grouping of people. We see more llamas than we see people, so getting relocation is not such a big challenge for us.
Right, permitting, that sort of thing. Are there other companies in the jurisdiction, or is it just you guys?
It's predominantly us. We own, or we have access to, over 1,000 square kilometers of exploration ground.
Right.
To date, we've probably explored 10% of that, and we have 120 million pounds 43101 compliant. So a heck of a lot more to find if we want to find it, but 120 million pounds is a great starting point.
That is a great starting point. So let's talk about your management team and the technical people that have put this land package together. You've been in the industry for a long time. Who else is on your board, and who else do you have on? On
the board, our CEO is a guy called Ted O'Connor. Ted is a pedigree in uranium, having spent a bulk of his management life with Cameco. Then we have our COO, who's a guy called Lawrence Stefan. Lawrence is South African based, but has been in Peru for the last, I guess, 12 years, operating mines within that country. So his knowledge of working in that environment with Ted's knowledge of the uranium sector is a great combination for moving a project forward. He understands how to do it and when to do it in country. Right,
that's smart. And what can we talk about on your shareholder base? Do you have any strategic investors at this point?
Yeah, look, one of our biggest supporters has always been Haywoods out of Vancouver here. Mm-hmm. They probably have a fair chunk of the company and have been solid since the inception of what was then called Macasani Yellowcake.
Right.
That joined with an asset that we had in a little company I was associated with called Azincourt, and bring them both together created the Plateau Uranium, the news story. But they have been fantastic supporters. And yes, over and above that, we've got the usual culprits that have come on board that like the story and have been with us for a long time. But now it's almost like a reinvention of the uranium story, because it really has taken us this long to get a little bit of appetite for this metal.
Sure, absolutely. How is your capital structure at this point? Are you fairly well funded for your programs coming up, or are you going to be coming to the market for capital?
Look, we're well funded at the moment, but we're a junior and we're in the development side of the game, so we will always at some stage have to come for capital, but not in the immediate future.
Okay.
But what we have done is we have a project that is with 120 million pounds. We completed an engineering study just earlier last year, and that study indicated that we can produce at a rate of 5 million pounds per year from the Macasani Plateau in Plateau Uranium at a cost structure that rivals the lowest in the industry. This are Kazakh numbers that we're used to, which is circa $16 to $17 per pound produced. And the nice thing about it, because of where we are in Peru with the infrastructure that I briefly touched on, is that the capital costs, unlike some of our friends and colleagues in the Athabasca Basin, who have good projects, but you're talking billions of dollars to bring the capital together because it's cold, you've got ice, you've got snow, you've got lakes, you name it. Our capital base is roughly 250 million. So we're at a level where people can see that we can achieve that number. We're getting off-takers excited about what we can produce in 2020, and we're at an operating level of $17 a pound. When you put those two together, we're actually an extremely competitive uranium development company. And as this story that you're helping me unfold today starts to get some traction, I'm pretty sure we're going to see quite a lot of excitement in little PLU stock going forward.
Right. So let's talk about some catalysts moving forward. What's on the docket for the rest of this year?
I'm delighted you've asked me that, because it saves me having to prompt myself. But right now we've been doing some drilling in Peru, which has indicated that we have a higher grade zone, potentially over 1.2 kilometers, which gives you a fair number of pounds. If we're right, and we will know within the next short while, because the press releases are just waiting to go, waiting for final assays, then we're going to sort of recatalyze the opportunity that is PLU with higher grade component going first. Secondly, and equally important, we've been busy on the environmental impact assessment, where we got sign-off from the local community in Peru and sign-off from the government of Peru saying, guys, this program we approve. Basically, it means that if we follow that program, there is no reason for us not to get our environmental impact assessment permit. I mentioned the off-takers, they're circling us a little bit because they can see reality in our project. Sure. But thirdly, and it's interesting that our symbol on the TSX is PLU, because we have three components of this project that came out at the end of last year. One is, of course, the uranium, which is a real structure, if you like, of our company. But we also have a lithium byproduct and a potassium byproduct. And what we've been within the same deposit. So when I mine 1 ton of ore, I get roughly in my high grade option a pound of U3O8, but I get 1.5 pounds of lithium metal. And we put out a lithium resource last year, and that's all we put out on the story. We have a company that has lithium in the 43101 compliant resource category, and we've got about 180 million tons of Li2O, which is a substantial resource, and it comes out with the lithium. And what we've been doing recently is just looking at the metallurgical aspects of that, unlocking it, and our metallurgical QP goes down to site tomorrow, as it turns out. So a further catalyst for our stock and our company is we will be saying something a little bit more on the lithium side of things.
Right.
And that's such a great add-on.
Sure,
but without
without
it, the uranium's perfect anyway. It's such a excellent story, but what a wonderful little, as you say, add-on. And it's a genuine byproduct.
Very cool. Well, it's going to be really interesting watching PLU for the rest of the year, and I'm really excited to put it on the watch list and see what happens.
No, look, it's great. Thanks very much for your time and attention. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks very much.